A second AI coding agent on your repo doesn't double your speed. It doubles your risk of losing work. That's not hypothetical. It's already happening on real teams this month. Right now, thousands of developers are pointing several coding agents at the exact same folder at once, and most of them have no idea the agents are silently overwriting each other's changes. There is no merge conflict warning, no angry red diff. One agent finishes, and the other agent's work is simply gone. Here is why. 2 agents, 1 working directory, 1 shared file on disk. There is no boundary between them at all, just a race to write the last version. This is not a flaw in the AI itself. It is a 10-year-old assumption baked into Git, and one buried command breaks it wide open. So how do you actually run a fleet of agents without them fighting over the same files? The answer is Git Worktree, one repository, but many isolated working folders, each one checked out on its own branch, all sharing the same history underneath. In practice, that means Agent 1 gets its own folder and its own branch. Agent 2 gets a different folder, a different branch. Same commits, same repository, 0 shared files while they work. Same repo, different rooms. That is the entire trick. One command creates the isolation. Git Worktree add, shipped all the way back in Git 2. 5 in 2015, most developers have never typed it once. A project called Orca just turned that command into a full fleet manager. No terminal juggling, no remembering which folder belongs to which model. You open a dashboard, and every agent gets dropped into its own isolated lane automatically. Developers noticed fast. Orca has crossed 29,800 stars on GitHub since launch, one of the fastest growing developer tools this year. It does not lock you into one model either. Point it at Claude Code, at Codex, at Grok, at Cursor, at Copilot, or at Open Code. You bring your own subscription. Orca just gives each one its own lane. And the fleet is not chained to your desk. Orca runs on desktop, on mobile, and on a VPS, so you can glance at 5 agents working from your phone, on a train, without touching your laptop. Orca can even snapshot a Worktree's state while scripting a workflow, capturing exactly where an agent stood before it touched a single file. Every Worktree still points back at the same trunk. Nothing merges into main until a human actually looks at the diff and says yes. More agents was never the bottleneck. Isolation was. The industry spent a year chasing a smarter model, when the real unlock was a boring folder trick from 2015. Picture a real Tuesday. A developer runs 4 agents overnight on the same checkout to save time. By morning, 2 of them had edited the same config file, one overwrite one, and an entire evening's work on the other agent's feature vanished. Nobody wrote a broken test. Nobody got a warning. The disk simply kept the version that finished writing last. The fix fits in 3 habits: 1 branch per agent, 1 worktree per branch, and nothing merges without a review. Skip that discipline, and a fleet of agents does not make you faster. It just multiplies how many places your code can quietly break at once. 2026 was supposed to be the year of the smartest model. It quietly became the year of the smartest fleet instead. Look at what is actually trending on GitHub right now. Not a bigger language model, but the plumbing around them, orchestration layers, agent fleets, tools built to run many agents safely at once. Orca is simply the sharpest version of that shift so far. That's the real headline buried under the Model of the Week news cycle. It even lets an agent click around inside a real desktop app when a task genuinely needs a visible interface, a detail most people scroll straight past. None of this required a smarter Claude, a smarter GPT, or a smarter Grok. It required admitting that the bottleneck was never the model in the room. The bottleneck was always how many rooms you were willing to give it. So the real cheat code was never a new model release at all. It was a 10-year-old Git command nobody bothered to read the manual for, finally wearing a dashboard. 29,800 people did not star a smarter model. They starred a smarter folder. The second agent stops being collateral damage the moment it gets its own room. So before you spin up agent number 3, are you actually giving it a room of its own, or just handing it the same folder and hoping for the best?